of summer sun. We'd head home to the family farm for some family vacation fun. Back to where my dad was raised in Walker County, proud and true. Me and my mom, my dad, little brother and sister too. Me and my dad, we'd go fishing, talk all about my ambition. Lately I've been wishing for all those best times we once had.
Hi everyone, we're finally here. We had a bit of a technical thing, but it worked out. And of course, I am Albert Torcaso. This is Humanity Matters, and it is People's Pets in Summertime, something like that. Actually, I didn't say the name exactly right, but it's Pets, People, and Summer. Any rate, a couple of things you need to know. Real quickly, this is the final first Tuesday live Humanity Matters episode because the station has made a brand new format, and as a result, there are no mainstay shows at this time. However, we will still be on television here randomly after this month. We'll be randomly, and we will be live again. Whenever we can get live, we'll be live. So you'll still see us. But what is very, very, very important to know, for those of you who go to www.humanitymatters.org, you can watch Humanity Matters and specials that we do anytime, 24/7, anytime, 24/7, even on Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. You can watch us all the time at www.humanitymatters.org. It is in the credits, and we may talk a little bit about that. But again, you know I'm the normal host of Humanity Matters. You know that last month we had a special host, which was Chris Weiss. And you know that I told you that Annette and Kathy were going to be doing this month. So we're going to have a combo without any calories. Remember I said we was going to have a combo without any calories? Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to introduce Kathy Payer, and she's got a little something going on. Then we're going to have Annette. She's got a little something going on. And then we're going to have good old Mr. Eats Too Many Hamburgers Torcaso. At any rate, without further ado, the one, the only, Kathy Gracie Ellen Payer.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I want to introduce my guest to you today, Officer Robert Gosler. Gosler, a Humane Society officer, and I have a few questions for you
I'll be happy to answer them, Kathy, if I'm able to.
Okay.
I'll try my best.
Okay. The first one I want to ask is it wait a minute now. Is living in animals outside? If the animals are living outside or with no shelter and no food or water for them available, is that considered animal abuse or neglect?
It would be considered neglect depending on how long the animal is outside. With summertime coming and the hot weather, if an animal is going to be out for an extended period of time, it needs to have access to shade, which would be shelter from the sun, and access to water most all the time as well. You should even replenish the water, you know. If it's going to be left out in the rain, then it has to have access to shelter, which will keep it dry. So if an animal's only going to be out in nice weather, has access to shade and water, and somebody's home to bring the animal in if it starts to rain, they don't need a dog house or a shelter that will keep it dry for the summertime. Other things to keep in mind, your tie-out should be long enough. In the city of Pittsburgh, you're supposed to have a 10-foot tie-out if your dog is going to be out all the time. There are actually no specifications under the animal cruelty laws, but the rule of thumb is at least 3 times as long as a dog is, and then you need to locate it in a tangle-free area. Another good idea, as far as the water goes, would be to secure a water container, because you know how dogs are.
Yeah.
Some of them like to drink a little bit and then play with their container. Others will flip them with their tie-out chain. So it's best if you could secure it. There's any number of ways to do it. One suggestion I have is it's easy. Just dig a hole in the ground at the perimeter of the dog's confinement area and bury one container in that hole and let that container be flat with the top of the ground, and that essentially serves as a framework. Put water in a second container and set it in there. That way you can easily take the container holding the water out and refresh it. So essentially, if an animal, Pennsylvania law says that to deprive any animal of necessary food, water, or shelter does constitute a form of negligence for which a person, if they didn't correct the situation, or heaven help us that it not happen, but if the animal dies as a result of lack of water, lack of shade in the summertime, yeah, that would be a prosecutable offense.
Okay. Now, what
Excuse
if,
me before one quick sec. I want to do a quick follow-up.
okay.
And then we'll get to you.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not going to mess you up. I'm not going to mess her up, I promise. I don't want to be arrested. We have an officer here. I had to have some comedy here, but now that would pertain, seems to me those laws would also cover the winter time, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. In Pennsylvania, shelter is defined by its function. It has to do 2 things. You have to give an animal, any animal, access to shelter which will keep it dry if it's going to be left out in any type of precipitation, and allow it to preserve its body heat in cold temperatures. So things such as metal barrels in the wintertime would not be considered adequate shelter because they retain the cold. Best shelter, I'm going to say for a dog in the wintertime, would be a wooden doghouse with an offset entrance, preferably not in the middle, off to one side. The doghouse up on bricks or blocks or what have you, or you could put runners on the doghouse, put a flap on the entrance, and use hay or straw bedding, or cedar chip if you like.
Okay, and one quick question. Having your dog, or even cats, I guess, out for an extended period of time in the winter or summer, what is the maximum amount of time where you can have them out without, quote unquote, shelter and water? Because I know that there are times when my neighbors, I have to say, have had dogs out when it was like 2 below or 10 below with the wind chill factor. So what is is there certain guidelines?
There aren't any specifications in the law. I think the best guideline is common sense. For example, a Siberian Husky in the wintertime would love to be outside and might, infrequently use its man-made doghouse. So you have to take into account the animal's age. You get a 12 or 13-year-old Doberman, you probably need a heated doghouse in the wintertime if he's going to be outside there. So you have to take into account the dog's age, his condition, if he has any medical issues, and the adequacy of the shelter. You can go out and buy a plastic doghouse and stick it out in the yard. In the summertime, that's probably going to be okay as a general rule, as long as it doesn't have a huge wide open front that the wind will blow the rain in there. You should put some kind of flap over that or position it somewhere where it's protected from wind-blown rain. In the wintertime, though, if you just have a plastic doghouse, maybe for Siberian Huskies, they're probably not going to freeze to death if they're in good health and they're well fed, but that's probably, I wouldn't consider that to be adequate shelter with a wide open front with no bedding in there and just a plastic doghouse. So there is no set time.